So hi and welcome to this video. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating the newsfeed. Let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the home.php file, and actually I can just close out of this. We can actually pretty much blank this out. What I'm going to do is actually, instead of blanking this out, because we can still use this line, if the user's logged in, I'm just going to get rid of this echo function, and what I'm going to do is write h2 news feed, and if we go back here and we refresh, okay, and of course we need to end the PHP tags there. So now we have a header tag that says newsfeed, and we can style this a bit. So what I'm going to do is open the CSS, and I'm going to create a new style, and this style is going to say news feed h2, and what it's going to say is background color, and the background color is going to be the color of up here, the one that says blue, I think. So we're going to copy this color for the background color, and of course put the hash in, and then go to the next line, and the border is going to be 1 pixel solid, and it's going to be the color this one here. And we can check this so far by enclosing this in a div with the class of newsfeed. So if we refresh, now we have the background color and the writing newsfeed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say width, and I'll make it say 70% of the page. And if we refresh, now it fills up 70%. And why I did this is because we could, if we wanted, put an advertisement along here, or I don't know, because we don't want the we want the newsfeed to be split up into columns, I suppose. So and down here I'm just going to say font size 15 pixels. So there, now it fits a bit better. So we can change this to your newsfeed. So now we've done that, we have a bar, and it's sort of the title bar, the header bar of our newsfeed. So now we've done that, underneath we're going to go to create a new div, and it's going to be okay, actually instead of this, what we'll do inside this PHP block, we'll create a MySQL query, and this query is going to be get posts, which is going to equal a MySQL query, obviously. What this query is going to say is select all from posts. So we can actually make this easier for ourselves by going to profile.php, and if we go up, and we found the get posts query, we can copy all this code, and just change it slightly and then just paste it in. So what I'm going to do is paste it in here and change this to the variable we just used, which was, actually it doesn't matter because it's a different page, we can use the variable. So if we refresh now, okay, so what we'll need to do is just put a curly bracket to close that off. So now if we refresh, okay, let me see. Okay, and one more thing, the variable username hasn't been declared, so what we'll do is change it to user and refresh. And this isn't quite what we were looking for, but it does work, but that's not what we want. Well, not yet anyway. And we can create a variable, and it can be post equals, and we can just go down here underneath the newsfeed div, and we can just create a new a new PHP block. And what it is going to say is echo post. So now if we refresh, we have the newsfeed title there, and okay. So that obviously didn't work. So that's a simple thing we're going to do to fix this. Copy this. Whoops. We're going to copy all of this code, and we're just going to paste it up here. And before we check that, as you can see, we have up here, if is not set session user login, which means if they're not logged in, we redirect them to the home page. And here we have the else, and then what to do if they are logged in. So we need to delete this and then enclose all this code in another curly brace so that it only shows up if the user is logged in. So now if we refresh, and obviously I need to change this back to echo. So now finally refresh, we get the newsfeed header up here, and we have the posts. So what we're going to do is surround this in a div and close it underneath. So I'll just close this div off here. Whoops. And in here we'll just say class equals news feed post, and then just use single quotes. So back in the site style.css file, we obviously have to create the newsfeed post class, and then whoops, we're going to first set the width to match the width of the header, so it takes up 70% of the page. Okay, that didn't work. And okay, what we're going to do is copy this and just paste it below, and then just say HR. So this way, if we choose to keep the HR tags underneath, okay, so I don't think this was necessary. The reason it didn't work was because it was new feed post instead of news feed post. So if we refresh, and as you can see now, it fills up 70% of the page. So we don't need this one anymore. And what we're going to do is we're going to say background color, and the background color is going to be white, which is 6 Fs, and the border is going to be 1 pixel solid, and the border color this time will actually be the color of the background of the it will be this color here. So if we refresh, we'll probably get rid of the h2 tag now. Now it has a very, very, very faint border around the edges. So what I'm going to do is remove the header tag, or not the header tag, the HR tag, and as you can see there's a bit of a problem now, so we can just put a paragraph tag or 2 paragraph tags now. So 1 paragraph tag sorted it out, but we want a slight gap, so 2 paragraph tags should sort that out. So now, okay, the second paragraph tag has to be underneath so that there's a gap between the border. So now there's a very, very faint border around the edges, and what I'm going to actually do is copy or get rid of that paragraph tag and paste it up here, so it won't make any difference to the actual posts, but it'll just make a gap between that and the newsfeed header. So now each post has a slight faint border around it, and there's a gap between that and the newsfeed. So, and what I'm also going to do is in here I'm going to say position fixed, and we're going to, because we did that, now we have to just copy the paragraph tag, and under here we just need to put a couple more paragraph tags in, because maybe 2 should be enough. When you set the position, when you use the position thing in CSS, it kind of just puts it over the top. I know I didn't explain that well, but it sort of just sits over the top instead of when you add a HTML element to a page, it pushes the other ones out of the way to make room for it. But if you use that CSS position attribute, it just sort of puts it over the top and it doesn't push anything out of the way. So now, as you can see, it moved it up underneath it more, and that's with the 2 paragraph tags. And you'll see if I remove these paragraph tags and refresh, as you can see, this is sort of sitting on top of everything, so we have to make some space for it. So 3 paragraph tags should be enough, and we refresh. It looks the same as it did, except for one difference. Now the newsfeed header stays on top. I mean, if you don't like that, you can always change it because it's pretty simple to change, but I like it, so I'm going to keep it. And I noticed that for some reason these are not quite as long as the header, and that's because of this div up here. No, not that div. It's because of some of the other code we have here, so we can either leave it the way it is because it looks fine, but if you want to make sure it looks correct, we can just line it up a bit better. Okay, so that's good enough. And the reason I made the border so light is because the newsfeed post, we're just going to copy this, and we're just going to say hover, and the background color will be the same as the border color, and then the border color will be the same as this one. So basically when you highlight over one of these, it'll change color, and you will see why. See, as you, this sort of, I don't know, it looks kind of cool. I think it highlights it. So what we're going to do is add also we're going to add a padding around the edge of 5 pixels. So, well, no, maybe 3 pixels. So that looks a bit better. Okay, so now we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to change this writing here to, instead of saying posted by cinema, because we want to mimic the Facebook newsfeed sort of. But obviously it can look the way we want it, but we just want it to mimic Facebook's a bit. So to do that, It's pretty simple, obviously. We just go to the HTML and we find this posted by. So what I'm going to do is delete this, and we can keep this keep it in the div posted by. And what I'm going to say is user from said posted this on your profile. So we could say that, and we could refresh. Okay, so the variable user from hasn't been declined. It's added by. Okay, so we change this to added by. And they all say cinema posted on your profile, but as you can see now, I've just logged out, and the newsfeed's different for me, obviously, because I'm a different user. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to cinema's profile, and down here, or in here actually, I'm just gonna say this shows us the newsfeed is working. So we refresh, or not refresh, post it, and for some reason my profile picture is not showing up, so we'll fix that, but we'll just refresh. Well, okay, we'll sort that out sometime soon. But okay, so I'll log out and I'll log back into cinema, and now it says Francis posted this on your profile. This shows it working, or this shows it's the newsfeed is working. So right, what I'm gonna do now is, now we've got, okay, actually I don't like the newsfeed header floating on top, so I'll just get rid of this, and in the site style all we have to do is remove position fixed. So we refresh, and the newsfeed should now stay, and we can actually fix this now, because the reason it was hanging over, I believe, is because there was no it was short, was because there was no padding around the edges. But in the H2 option, by default there is padding around the edges. So long as we match the padding, which is probably 2 pixels, so we'll adjust the padding to 2 pixels. So it looks like that's too small, so what we're going to do is we'll just leave this the way it is, instead of wasting time trying to get it down to the very last pixel. Okay, so I just worked out the reason why these profile images aren't showing up, and it's because unless you've uploaded a profile picture, as you can see, if I go to open this image in a new tab, the uploaded profile picture shows up fine, because if you remember, this last part of it is stored in the database and then is outputted in a variable. But if we open this image in a new tab, it just takes us to the profile pictures directory, because the variable afterwards that is taken from the database isn't there. So what I'm going to do to fix that, well, actually I'm probably running out of time, so that's one of the things we'll do in the next video, as well as doing more of the newsfeed, like showing your notifications in the newsfeed, letting you poke people in the newsfeed, like things in the newsfeed, things like that. So if you've enjoyed this video, if you've enjoyed the video, don't be afraid to like the video, comment on the video, or whatever. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask me. because unless it's a question I've asked before or I've been asked before, I will usually help you unless it's a really complicated one that even the complicated ones sometimes I will help. But, if it's a really long one that means it's going to take me a long time to answer, then I might still help you, but I might not answer the whole thing because it would take me too long if everyone asked me really complicated questions and I had to work them out for each individual person, like by looking at their code and stuff. But if you ask me a question and you have to show me some code, so long as it's not too much and it won't take me too long to answer, then I'll be more than happy to answer your question or at least point you in the right direction. So once again, thanks for watching and see you soon. And don't forget to subscribe.